system demo for camp coaches and rangers, and we are recording this webinar. My name is Elizabeth Kohler, and I am joined by Beth Hoff, who is the registration representative that works with camp, and we are here to kind of show you how the new reservation system for camps is going to function and run. So thank you for joining us today. So basically, the important thing to remember is that June 1st, the new improved reservation system for campsites will go live. Everything is being moved over from the old system into the new system, so you don't have to worry about anything like that, but that will go live June 1st. On August 3rd, event registrations will go live, and we're really using the two terms differently. So anything that is a training, a program, event is a registration. If it has to deal with campsite facility rentals, equipment rentals, then it's a reservation. So I just wanted to kind of stress the difference in when we say those two words. So the first thing that I wanted to do is kind of give you a demo fairly quickly of what the new system looks like, so you can see from the troop leader's point of view, from the service unit point of view, what they're going to see and how the system is going to function. Because I think going in with that information gives you kind of a base, a foundation to understand how the whole system works, and then you'll be able to see what your part is in that. So bear with me while I just kind of go through this, and Beth may have to take over. If you may have not noticed, I have a little bit of a frog in my throat. I think his name is Kermit, but he's here, and if I tend to get a little scratchy, more scratchy, I may pass it off to Beth to kind of walk through this. Okay? So anytime a reservation starts, it starts on our website, which is girlscoutsofnortheastohio.org, and they simply click on camp, and then they go down to reserve a campsite. When they get there, they will be taken to a page that looks like this, and they can actually click on which property they would like to start with to look at. We know that a lot of our users choose their search first based on which property is closest to them, but they can do any of those that they see. Okay. So after they do that, they can then pick and choose what things that they're going to want, and we're going to walk through this whole thing. So after they get to the site, so this one is Ledgewood, they would check down on the category, and they have a lot of choices that they can look at. They can look at whether they want a cabin overnight, they're looking at something that's day use, they want equipment, they want the kitchen dining, platform tents, primitive, Adirondack, it's all there listed, and they can choose one of those options. They also have an option for duration. It is defaulted to 1 night. So they do have to, if they want to do 2 nights, they do have to switch that to 2 nights. Okay? So just so you're aware, service units are going to be able to continue to make camp reservations approximately 6 months or 180 days in advance, and all reservations open at 6 a.m. Troop can make camp reservations approximately 3 months or 90 days in advance. Previously, campsites always became available on the 1st of the month for the entire month. That is changing. Camp reservations are now open on a rolling calendar. So it is a true 90 days or 180 days is when the next date will become available. So it always won't be on April 1st, June 1st is going to open. It's always going to be a little bit off. So I did have a schedule, but it basically is like if you wanted to go camping, it's September 18th. I think the days were like March, what did I say? It's a little bit different here. Thank you. That's okay. I figured it out. I counted it because you do have to do that. So if you wanted to reserve September 18th, it opens to the service unit on March 23rd. On June 21st, the camp troops would be able to register. And if you want the 19th, you would do the 24th and the 22nd. So you kind of, troop leaders and service unit directors are going to have to make a choice. Do they want to go in and reserve that first night on the first day it opens, or do they want to go in the second night and get both nights? So we've always had this problem when a camp, a weekend split a month. So we've always kind of dealt with it, and it usually isn't too big of a problem. And there's no additional charge for, you know, booking it as, you know, 1 night at a time or as 2 nights. So they're the same price either way. But I did want to make everybody aware that that is changing, and that's something that we are going to educate our troop leaders and our service unit instructors about. Okay. One second, bear with me one moment. All right. So then they go in. And
I don't know why you're getting feedback. I thought I did. Okay.
Sorry, we're getting a little feedback, and I'm not sure why. Hold on one second. Okay. So what happens now is I've changed the category to camp and overnight. And when I do that, I can actually see all of the cabins that are available. And there is, on all of the cabins now, there is a little dot here that says more. And when you click on that, you're taken to this lovely detailed information about the site. So there's a slideshow. There's also lots of pictures of the site. There's a lot of information about the site. And then it actually goes in and gives you the amenities of that site, so they can see what is available on that site and what's not. So not only do they have a choice of what cabins are available, but they can go and get more information on a particular cabin. So this gives the site that I want to book, and I said, yep, that makes sense for me. So I can go in and I can actually reserve Cotter A, one here, and I can also reserve Cotter B, or I could have clicked on Cotter A and B. So either one of those work. And as I reserve those, they move over here into the reservation. And you will notice that it is for 2 nights here, because I did have the duration button selected for 2 nights. If I'd only done 1, it would only be from like 7/3 to 7/4, vice versa, okay? So that's great, and I said that's exactly what I want so far. And now I want to actually look, and there's some equipment that I want to do. This is an example of a troop that maybe wants to go in and do a whole lot of information at one, you know, they want to do a whole lot of activities at camp. So we're going to add that on and show how it can be all done in one particular order. So in here you now see that I've gone in and I've added archery and I've added canoeing, and I can pick which ones that I want to add. So archery I'm going to do in the morning, and then low ropes we're going to do in the afternoon, and the canoes are going to be in the evening. And I said that I want to do those on Saturday. If I want to do something else on Sunday, I have to go in and check on that box Sunday, and then I can add in that I want to do GPSs, do some geocaching on Sunday with the GPS unit. So all of these are things that I can select and move forward and do. I can then go through and say check out. This button, the screen is a little confusing, but it is part of what the system. Eventually, we could have different price groups if there are outside renters or, you know, different types of price groups. We could set those up. At this time, we only have one grouping, and that is for everyone. So you just click that box and hit continue. After you do that, if it knows who you are, if you've already been in the system and you've logged in, it'll bring you up. If not, it will prompt you at this point in time to log in. And it's very easy to create a username and password and log in. Unfortunately, the username and passwords that are currently in the system will not be brought over, but if you wanted to use the same username and password that you've used in the past, you can. So troop leaders can say, this has been my username and password before, so they can bring that over and make those up, because they're going to create those for themselves, right? So I'm going to say, yep, this is me. I'm Gidget Kohler today, and I'm making my reservation. And it's going to ask me some information about myself. So I put in my information, and it's about myself and the group that's going to be camping. And it asked me for our outdoor trained person. It asked for the first aid volunteer. It asked for emergency contact and emergency contact phone numbers. And it won't let you go forward without filling in this information. So it does ask for all of this information. So as I fill it in, it's all there, and I can continue on. So then it gives me Site A. So I'm here at Cotter A, and it's asking me how many people are going to be attending. And I can put in the numbers for adult females, adult males, and for Girl Scouts. And as I go through, I can actually put in people's names in each of these places, the first and the last name. And I'll show you what it happens if you click this link here in just a moment. So I went through and I put in the names for my first site, and I get a kind of a summary of my shopping cart that shows that I've added 2 adults and 5 girls under Cotter A. But it says under the rest of them that I still have things that I need to do. So it won't let me move on until I go through and add names under each of these. So now I'm in Cotter B, and I'm going to do 2 females and 5 girls. And this time I said I want to add someone I've signed up before. So here, when you click that link, it pops up this little box. And anybody that you have registered previously, it will allow you to add them and take them away from this list. So you can add them once to this list, and it'll be makes it a lot easier for our troop leaders. So the first time they go in and they make their reservations, they're going to have to add all of the adults and girls in. But after that, they will be attached to that group, and it'll be much easier for any reservation or registration they make in the future. So now I've gone into Cotter B, and I've also made that. And I know at this time, because it's not until July, I'm not sure exactly who's coming, but at least I'm putting in a couple of people that I know for sure are coming. And I don't see names here at this point, but I will see names in a little bit. So I need to go through, and I have archery and canoes, and I have to fix each one of these separately. So when it comes up to canoes, it's telling me that there's a facilitator required. And it tells us that it's including 8 boats, 2 people each, so it gives us that information. And it asks for the name of the facilitator, how they are certified, and the date of that certification. So in order for me to move forward, I have to fill this out. Now, it's not until July, so I might not have my facilitator on board yet. I know I'm going to get one, but I have a couple calls out to people, haven't heard back, so I'm not sure which of the 2 individuals I've asked it's going to be. So at this point in time, when I'm making this reservation, I'm going to put in to be determined. And at least that allows me to move forward and reserve the site at the same time I'm reserving the equipment, at the same time I'm reserving my site. But I can come back in and edit this before my actual date. So then it moves to the payment screen, and you'll notice that there is a discount bar here. And what happens is, depending on the time of year you select, we have some discounts for camping. So it may be that you are camping off-season or in winter, and we have all of those marked and discounted at different rates for that time. So those are automatically applied. You don't have to do anything to worry about them. You will note that credit card is the form of payment, and we are educating our troop leaders and service unit directors that they need to get either a credit card or a debit card in order to use the system. So we are helping them with that, and you'll see a note here in a minute about that. But it does ask for their payment information. Service units can still make a partial payment at the time of registration. It's 50% at the time of registration, and it will be the full balance due 1 month prior to their camp out, so that has not changed. Troops all have to pay it all up front. So again, here, credit and debit card is the only acceptable payment method. So what we're suggesting is all troops and service units, if they don't have a debit card, should request one from their bank. If there are any problems that they receive, if the bank doesn't want to work with them, please call John Graves, and he will call the bank and let them know that they need to provide that for our troops as a service. So I've done my registration and I've completed it, and you can see I don't have a whole lot of girls listed, but I put in what I have, and it's giving me a total receipt. Not only will you get the summary, you will get a receipt for each individual site that goes with it, and you'll notice that it has a great information for direct who to call if you have any questions. So this is the receipt, so that's what it looks like. Sure, Beth?
When you do your reservation, we still have the seasonal discounts that we've had in the past, and that will show up on your receipt. So if you start seeing a discounted amount, that's because the original prices are prime price, and then you'll get a discount for the season.
So those show up on your receipt as well as in your summary. Okay. So then, after I've made this, at any point in time, I can log back into the system and see a summary of what I have, what upcoming orders I have. So if I have 2 sites that are coming up in 2 reservations that are coming up in the future, I'd be able to see them. In this particular case, you're seeing everything that I just booked. This is my summary, and there's a little thing over here where you can get view details. So when you click on that, you can actually view details of Cotter B, and it shows you exactly what's going on and who is registered. Okay. you'll notice that there's also this lovely update button. So if I wanted to add additional girls or adults to this, I can click on the update button, and it's going to take me back where I can go in and amend this. So now instead of 2 adult females or 1 Girl Scout, I can add the additional people that I know are now attending and going to be staying at this site. Okay, so now I've gone in and I've added a few more girls to the site, and you can see them listed here. And you can also see what type they are, whether they're adult females or girls. So you can see all of that is right here. Okay. I can also go in and update the archery facilitators and canoe facilitators and all of those. So as I know, I've determined that I went in and I was able to get archery certification for myself, Digicola. So I went ahead and said, yep, I did that. I did it at ALE, and I can put that information in. Okay. The other piece that you can do from your kind of your profile, so to speak, or your account, is you can manage your group. So if I wanted to go in and put in my troop or my troops, I could do that and put them all in my group, and then I can play with, manage them from this way as well. So I don't have to wait or until I try to register for something. I could add in, I just have a new co-leader, I have a new girl that joined my troop. I can add them in at my group at any time. And if I have multiple groups, I have a drop-down list as well. So you can do things from the system to help you with your orders. Okay. I think I'm okay right now. So before I move on, I wanted to actually see if we had any questions.
Yes, there was a statement about if you're planning 6 months in advance for a camp and don't have the information.
I think we answered that we can put in to be determined. Each site does require that you have at least like 1 person listed in it. So even if you list yourself initially, you can list yourself for 1 person that you know is coming, and you can list yourself on 2 sites at the same time. That won't be a problem. But then you can go in and update it 1 month prior for service units and 3 weeks prior for troops, so that they can update them. Okay. All right. So then, this is where I think you all, as camp coaches and camp managers, arrangers, are going to be excited, because you are going to be able to see reservations in real time. So if somebody goes on and makes a reservation, before Beth has to touch it or move it or do anything, no longer does she have to put it on the grid. You will be able to see what is happening in real time. So you have 2 views that you can look at, and we're going to look at both of those. There is a reservations calendar, and there's also a reservations list. And I think it's a personal preference on what you like to see and how you like to see it. But both of these will work. You can just go directly to the URL, and we will be sharing this URL with you. So don't feel like you have to try to write it down all that well. But you can always copy it, click on it, and then bookmark it. So I will send that out as a response after this recording is over. I'll include it in the email. Okay, and so let's look at what the calendar looks like. And this recording is going to be great with my voice. Okay, so when now we look at the calendar, you can see I'm actually looking at GSNEO Ledgewood. So a lot of times when you first come up, it's going to say GSNEO All. So you got to select which one you're looking at. And here you can actually see a calendar view. And this cuts off, so I'm actually going to switch and take you to the live version. So you can just bear with me 1 moment. Hopefully this doesn't mess something else up. So here you're seeing the actual live version, and we're looking at Ledgewood, and we can actually see November, and you can scroll down and see all of the various weekends and things that have been put in to the system already for Ledgewood. I can switch over and look at a different camp. I wanted to see Timberlane. I can see that Timberlane has some other ones that are being added as well. And I know that Beth is actively moving all of the reservations from the old system into the new system. So they are being moved over one at a time. So thank you, Beth, for doing that. But they are all in there. So you can actually, I'm going to go back to Ledgewood. Is this weekend up to date? They're all in there, right?
Yes, they're all in there. If not in May, but June should be in.
Okay. So if we wanted to see June, you can see the first weekend in June, who is camping, and all of the good information. All right? Okay. other option.
Point out right here.
Okay.
Just particularly for the camp coaches and the camp rangers that are online. If something is canceled, this grid will not say cancel. It will be there and suddenly it will be gone. So there's no way for us to note the cancellation. Just know that this is active as of the second that it's being done, and that's what it is.
So if you were to go and print it out like 3 weeks ahead of time, and then somebody comes back and a troop cancels, the week before, your printout is going to be different than the calendar view the day of. Okay. So we have that. All right. And then the other version is a camp list, which I like. I think it's a little bit easier to view than the calendar, but you can do some search. So if you just wanted to shorten it and show the weekend that you're going to be at camp, you can do that. So you can say, okay, I just want to see one particular weekend. You would click on Friday the 6th through the 8th and say go, and it's going to limit it to just that particular weekend. Okay, so you'll be able to see who's coming in, which service unit. So here we can see that November 7th, this weekend, it looks like the majority of things is a service unit event that Lisa Allison has booked. So you can see that. Okay. Okay. All right. I think we have another question. Do you want to check that out?
We're good.
Oh, we're good.
Stephanie just said thank you.
Okay, cool. All right. So I know that not everybody has access, and I'm going to try to switch over to this, and it's going to give me I'm going to just do it this way, because if I do it, it's going to give me a weird error here. So if you can't access or print the list, don't worry about it. Our camp rangers and camp managers have agreed to continue printing out the list so that it will be there waiting for you at camp. So it's one of those things you can check ahead of time before you leave the house, but you can also get a printed off list when you get there. In the future, near future, I don't have a date yet, but we're working on it. Camp coaches will have a computer or tablet with internet access and printing capabilities at each camp. That will give you the ability to look up real-time reservations. It'll also give you the ability to search the GSNEO event calendar. So if somebody comes in and they say, I'm here for the astronomy program, and you look at and you can say, well, you're at Camp Timberlane and you should be at Camp Ledgewood. You can do that using the event calendar, as well as give you weather reports and access to other information that I think you will find very helpful. So we are working on that, and John Graves and I are trying to get together with that and get that to you as soon as possible. But hopefully by fall, when things start back up again very heavily at Timberlane and Ledgewood, we will have that for you. Okay. We do have 2 additional webinars that are coming up. One this evening for our service unit directors, where we will be going over how they can book service unit events and what things that they will need to know specifically for service unit reservations. And then we will also be doing next week a webinar for our leaders so that they have information about the new system as well. Both of those webinars will be recorded so that they can see the information. Even if they can't join us for the webinar, it'll be posted online and they'll be able to see that information. At this point, if anybody has questions, you can either raise your hand. There's a little hand-raising feature, or you can type it in, and we can answer any questions. So we've done the demo, and we've kind of showed you all that information. I'm sure you might have additional questions, but Beth and I are here and ready to answer any of that. Okay, Phyllis. See, now when I click on you, Phyllis, can you hear me? Can you talk to us? Okay, you need to unmute yourself because you've got yourself muted. So if you unmute yourself, you should be able to talk.
There you go.
There you are. We
right.
can hear you.
Now can you hear me?
I can, Phyllis.
Okay. You say you're getting computers for the camps?
That is the plan, yes.
Okay. Will the computer at Timberlane be put in the Welcome Center or in the camp host house?
We have not finalized that. Do you have a preference?
The camp coach house.
Okay.
There is Wi-Fi at the Welcome Center, but there is not Wi-Fi in the Camp Coach house. So I don't know if that's going to pose a problem.
Okay. I don't think we finalized it that much. At this point in time, we've just identified that this is a need. So I don't know that we have settled down and said this is where it's going to be. But thank you for the input, and we will definitely take it under consideration.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to lower your hand and mute you back again. But if anybody else has any other questions, you want to raise your hand or type in the question log, we can do that. Stephanie, I'm going to unmute you. Can you hear me?
Hi, ladies. Yeah, I
Stephanie.
was curious. You're saying that, and then I had heard about the Wi-Fi being available. I'm planning my service unit in October, and we're up in Low Lodge. Would I have access, if we have like a few tablets or stuff, to be able to use the Wi-Fi?
I do believe the Wi-Fi is available at Low Lodge. Yeah. Huh?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. And I do believe that Low Lodge does have access to Wi-Fi, yes.
Hello?
Stephanie, are you there? Can you hear me? Maybe she can't hear me. I can hear you. Okay, we are going to try to answer you. Hopefully everybody can continue to hear us. But yes, you can, Stephanie, access your Wi-Fi. Okay, I remuted. Anybody else? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Well, I will keep the question log open for a little bit after the webinar, so if you have any further questions, you can always type it into the question log. We will be, again, sharing this recording with any of the camp coaches that aren't able to attend this, so they can access the recording to this. If you have any additional questions, you can always reach out to myself, to Beth, or to Barb Anzalone, who is your contact. So either of those people can answer your questions. Thank you all so much for attending the webinar, and I'm going to give you approximately a half hour of your life back. So thank you and have a great day.